two. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer. He's the leader that everyone fears. Quickly, it's a real heater. Once my friend, he's a locker room leader. In the chaos, he's the center, turning us into believers.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is Sunday night, and that brings us to the Locker Room Breakdown Rasslin recap. One night ahead of the Raw Patrol. I am OM Dynamic. He is Chris Best joining me. Thank you for stepping in tonight, brother. Greatly appreciated. Always love having you here. How are we doing?
It's all good. It's all good. I'm full because I had a very Canadian dinner, craft dinner.
Yes, you did. And I went to a very, very authentically Canadian fast food restaurant. I went to Harvey's. But we have a lot to cover here tonight and going into this coming week in wrestling as we are a week out from Backlash.
It feels like WrestleMania was yesterday.
Right? This last 2 weeks has just flown by.
And what did I say about last week? We would get surprises, and we did.
Yes, and then we've got two more events coming up on the, I believe it's the 24th and the 31st of this month, with Saturday night's main event and Clash in Italy. So they are some busy boys at WWE Creative. But let's start. Last Monday, Raw opened with Roman and the Usos sitting very reminiscent of the MFTs. They were sitting in a room at a table discussing what to do about the Jacob Fatu situation.
I'm just going to say it's not like the MFTs. It's more like Tony D'Angelo's family because they did it first.
Okay. and I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Whereas, yes, with the MFTs, it was Solo with the others standing behind him and around him. With Tony D's family, they were all at the table. This was them sitting side by side. Jimmy saying, you know what? I agree with you, but I agree with Jacob too. So he's understanding Jacob's position.
Mm-hmm.
Jay seems to be letting his frustrations get the better of him, saying there needs to be consequences.
And what he means, what does he mean by that? We're not really too certain on that one yet.
Yeah, I mean, Roman did thank them, said he would mull it over and give everybody his decision later in the night, which we found out. Now, as we see superstars coming into the building, we had Bayley and Lyra. We saw the women of the Judgment Day attack Stephanie Vaquer backstage.
Yeah, and this came out of nowhere, and there is reason behind that now, as we have found out. Stephanie Vaquer is actually hurt and is expected to miss the next almost 2 months of action.
Oh, wow.
So
okay, so
she's going to be taking out of the championship picture for the time being.
Okay. I can get behind that. Does this elevate? And we know, because we're going to discuss it in just a little while, because we do know that the women of the Judgment Day were taking on Bayley and Lyra later in the night.
Yes.
But we go to the ring and Seth Rollins. He addressed his loss at WrestleMania. He addressed the fact that he is not the world heavyweight champion, saying it wasn't because Gunther put him to sleep. It wasn't because Roman Reigns pinned his shoulders to the mat. It was all because of Braun Breaker. Told Braun Breaker, I know you're watching back there with a number of staples in your head. Come on out here and let's settle this.
Yeah, and that was from the chair shot that Braun took to the back of the head the previous week. I found it In retrospect, I thought it was kind of weird that suddenly we're moving Seth away from Gunther, and I know that that was just a fix to until Braun Breaker was healthy again. And I like where we're going, but I kind of want to see. I want to see some more. I want to see them circle back to Gunther with Seth somewhere down the road, just so we can get a little bit more finality on that one.
Yeah, I was at that point as well, like, because I asked coming out of WrestleMania, does Seth now focus primarily on Braun Breaker, or does he fight a war on two fronts? Does he focus on Gunther and trying to redeem himself from that loss at WrestleMania,
Yeah,
or not?
and I get why Seth is going after Braun because, I mean, Braun was the one who kicked him out of the Vision.
Yeah,
Braun was the one who put Seth on the shelf alongside Bronson Reed, but he is not in the picture at the moment.
yes.
So I totally get why Seth is just basically saying to Gunther, 1 minute, I'll be right back with you. I got to deal with this guy first.
Yeah. Now, this was a very, very interesting promo as Seth told Braun Breaker, I handpicked you for the Vision. I gave you everything. I handed you the world on a silver platter. Braun's response was, I didn't do it for you. I didn't need you. I needed him, pointing at Paul Heyman.
And you know what? I'd probably say the same thing if I was in Braun Breaker's shoes. Because while Seth does carry all of that experience in the ring with him, Paul Heyman, and Seth also has a mind for the business as well. But I would think that Paul Heyman's mind for the business is just a bit stronger than Seth's.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And if you look at the pedigree of wrestlers that Paul Heyman has managed all throughout his career, he's had very minimal wrestlers that weren't successful under him. I'm looking at Ryback. I'm looking at Curtis Axel.
Cesaro.
Well, Cesaro had more success before Paul Heyman came into the picture.
True.
But yeah, I'm looking at if I'm looking at my list of managers that are currently managing in the business that they want to put me with, I'm picking Paul Heyman.
Yeah, absolutely. So then we move, they continue on back and forth with Seth telling Braun, you're not ready, even referring to him as Baby Steiner. And we didn't get a Steiner math promo, thank goodness.
I will
But
say this about the Steiner promo again. Scott Steiner's numbers actually matched up, people.
oh, I know. But this went back and forth, which led to Seth saying, Backlash is 2 weeks away. What do you say? Which we did find out Braun accepted, and later in the night, Adam Pearce did make the match official. Is this the true kickoff, or is this just going to be a one and done type of thing for Seth and Braun?
No, this has to be a kickoff for a long feud between the two men. This is something that's been boiling for, I would say, about a year. We'll say that this whole thing started back when Seth brought Braun into the Vision and all that. Because you're talking about like a year of friendship and Braun Breaker just throws it away like that. I don't blame Seth for being ticked off at that. This is that whole it's sort of like Macho Man and Hulk Hogan, right? WrestleMania 4, Macho Man wins the title, Hogan helps him out. But then WrestleMania 5, suddenly they're on the opposite sides of the ring fighting each other.
Yeah.
That's where I think this is going. This is going to be a blood feud between the two men for sure.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we have not so much like not an official best of 3, but like an unofficial best of 3 between these men, where you have like say Braun takes the win in the first match, Seth takes the win in the next match, and then we'll say at SummerSlam they finish off with that third match.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I was going to say, because I don't think we're going to try and run this from Backlash through Clash in Italy. I think you need something. And I think you're okay if you start this off with a no decision in your first match.
Yeah.
Even in your first two, and then whether you go to an I Quit, a last man standing, Hell in a Cell to settle a blood feud. What I don't want is I don't want this to really get dragged out the way Rollins and Punk got dragged out, or Drew and Punk, Drew and Priest. I don't need it going on for the majority of the next year.
No, but it could be something that, like, you have that first match at Backlash, and then you spin them off into some kind of a couple of minor feuds. Then they come back to it, say in July for a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Can't remember which pay-per-view it is in July, and then they settle it at SummerSlam.
Yeah. Yeah, and I am 100% with you there.
And that would be just like Brett and Owen. I mean, Brett and Owen's feud started at the Royal Rumble in January of 94 that year, but they didn't feud with each other throughout that entire 7 months because it ended in August. But we saw Owen go on to feud with Razor for a little bit. Owen focused on winning the King of the Ring, which led to a brief feud with Razor.
Yeah.
We saw Brett go off and feud with Diesel over the WWF title.
Yep.
And they just culminated back again at SummerSlam.
But do we get, say, maybe we know that the Street Profits are potentially going to be involved in this, as we've seen them make their presence felt with Division with Logan Paul and Austin Theory.
Yeah, and that's another thing you can do too, is because it wouldn't be just a straight off one-on-one feud. You could still have that feud in the background, but it turns into a 6-man feud for 1 month, you know?
Right. Would we maybe spin off to another former disciple of Seth Rollins, with Seth Rollins battling Theory for a little bit in between?
I would be fine by that too. We could even revisit Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. I mean, they've put on great matches.
Yeah.
So and then there's also the factor of Bronson Reed. We don't know when he's coming back. It's going to be soon.
Yeah.
Because he's not far off. So somewhere in there, Bronson Reed has to be thrown into this situation as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But we go to our first match, and what a banger of a first match is our Intercontinental Champion, Penta, takes on Rusev as Ethan Page is sitting ringside.
Yeah, this whole match was, I think it's designed to fuel the feud between Page and Penta. But as the match went on, that's what I initially thought. But as the match went on, I kind of flipped the script a little bit in my head, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. Maybe there's a 3-man feud, and then Javon Evans shows up in the middle at the end of the match, and I'm like, are we going to another fatal 4-way, or are we just setting up future feuds for Penta?
Yeah. And I mean, we know that Penta and Rusev have had history over the Intercontinental Championship when Dom was the Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah.
And this match was back and forth. We didn't even see Ethan Page get involved. Nobody got thrown into him to cause a disqualification. He got involved after the match, even though, again, he was getting stared off by Rusev. But yeah, Javon Evans, who had laid claim saying, I'm still coming after the Intercontinental Championship, and I fully expect by the end of the year he will have that belt.
Yeah. And that's what I mean, because like we just came off of a 6-man ladder match that included Rey Mysterio and JD McDonough.
Yeah.
I don't need a fatal 4-way at Backlash or at Clash in Italy or at Saturday night's main event. I don't want to see the 4 of these maybe clash again until SummerSlam. I would like to see Penta go through these guys in one-on-one fashions throughout the summer.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't even know that I need Rusev really in the title picture because he was there. And unfortunately, he didn't get the job done. I'm wondering if Rusev might be better served now to change brands. put a focus again on the US championship.
Well, I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of an alliance between Ethan Page and Rusev that's going to form possibly after what's set to happen tomorrow night.
Yeah, which
And
we
we'll
will
talk. Yeah. We'll talk later on that one.
Yeah, but this was a solid back and forth match. Penta did come out and pull off the victory, I do believe.
Yes, he did.
Then we had the El Grande Americanos for AAA for the mask versus mask matches. They're building that up for the end of this month as well.
Yeah, and I just got to say, as of last night, that build took a very interesting turn.
I have seen the clips, yes.
Yeah, the Creed brothers, as we have suspected, have sided with the original El Grande Americano.
Yes. We then wound up with an open challenge on Raw as Becky Lynch came out to celebrate her third time as the Women's Intercontinental Champion and said, you know what? I'm doing what nobody else has done with this belt, and there is nobody out there that can beat me. So consider this an open challenge to anybody in that locker room. And that was answered by Io Sky.
Yeah, I kind of like where we're going with this because I get a feeling that the upcoming match with Io Sky and Asuka at Backlash, there's got to be Intercontinental title implications in that matchup. You don't even have to officially say whoever wins is going to become the number one contender for the Intercontinental title, but whoever wins between those two is going to gun after Becky regardless of that.
And this was an amazing match back and forth. I know we sat here speculating as to who it could be picking up that challenge. And given the news of, all of the releases that we had, I know you guys covered it last Tuesday on Turnbuckle Talk.
Yeah, we got more to cover this Tuesday.
Yes, we do. It really, really made things interesting because we do know that Asuka got involved at the end of the match, costing Io Sky.
Yeah, and that's just more fuel for the fire for Io Sky. I mean, let's put it this way, OMD. If you were in the ring fighting for the Intercontinental title and I came out and cost you, would you not want to pop me in the mouth for that?
Yeah, but you also know that I would.
Yeah.
I think that we need some finality to this Io versus Asuka. And I know this is something that I sort of pine for, that I've been pushing for. I think we need a loser leaves the brand match.
And I don't want Io to leave Raw. I don't want her to go back to Rhea Ripley. I like what they're doing over on SmackDown with her. Yeah. I need to keep Rio and I need to keep Rio separate.
Yeah. But you can always move Asuka over.
Yeah, and I'd be fine by that. But at the same time, yeah, I think this should be the finality at Backlash, because now that the catalyst for this feud is no longer in the WWE, that being Kairi Sane, because that's where I'm thinking about now, because Kairi is no longer with the WWE. Where do you spin Asuka off after this? Because the original thought that we all had was, after this feud, you spin Asuka off to Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
So now Asuka's kind of in a bit of a limbo after Backlash.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Becky Lynch comes into play here, because if Asuka wins, Asuka can go after the Intercontinental title. Same thing goes for Io. You can still have Asuka get involved in that situation and it turns into a triple threat.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at it, if you spin Asuka off into something else in a one-on-one situation.
Right. And that's where I'm wondering, or do you go have something that you've been pining for, and we'll discuss it in the next hour when we move over to SmackDown. Could you pair Asuka off with Julia?
I need Julia to stay separate too. I like Julia as a. I like what Julia and Kiana James are doing. I mean, I kind of want to see Kiana and Julia split off as well at some point. And I think that's where we're going. I think, honestly, I think the Asuka storyline was given to them by that sense. Except there seems to be more professional jealousy between the two of them.
Right.
But yeah, the big question is, what do you do with Asuka after the Io Sky feud?
Yeah. The part of Monday then that you were looking forward to the most, Raw's newest signee came out to perform a concert. Yes, Joe Hendry, Raw's newest signee, made his debut in concert and asked about firing Logan Paul in song.
Yeah, and to all the people that thought that this was done in poor taste, it really wasn't. The majority of the people that were released had actually departed the company due to like some kind of contractual disputes and all that. And it's all in good fun. We'll put it at that. If somebody had said, "Hey, I don't feel comfortable with it," to Joe Hendry, I can guarantee you Joe Hendry would have been like, "Okay, I'm going to change it up then."
Absolutely. I've actually seen video footage of Joe Hendry and Logan Paul backstage before the Joe Hendry concert.
Yeah, that was Joe Hendry playing a trick on Paul.
But it was Logan Paul's telling him how much, yes, I believe in you. I respect you. I appreciate what you do. Joe Hendry again telling him, just listen because this is how much I respect you.
Yeah,
And
that was
yes,
Joe Hendry. That was Joe Hendry luring Logan Paul.
oh yeah, which we did get the interruption of the Vision, who then came down, took out Joe Hendry with the 2-on-1 numbers advantage, all for Joe to be saved by the Street Profits.
Yeah, and it's obvious that the Street Profits are definitely gunning for those tag team titles. I'm very curious because I like that we didn't get quite an answer on where we're going with Joe Hendry on Raw. So that's got me intrigued to see what we get tomorrow. Whether it's Joe Hendry in action, it could be against maybe Logan Paul or Austin Theory, which, by the way, both matches would be fantastic for Joe.
Yes, they would. But this is also very, very intriguing from a Vision standpoint because now they've got Seth Rollins coming from one angle. You've got Joe Hendry coming at another and the Street Profits coming at a third angle. And right now, the numbers advantage favor the outsiders.
Well, maybe this is where Bronson Reed actually comes back and we get, dare I say, a possible 8-man tag instead of a 6-man.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. It's been a while since we've had an 8-man tag main event on a pay-per-view. Because let's face it, in this situation, this is a main event quality match.
It is. It absolutely is.
I believe the last time I remember an 8-man tag being on the main event of a pay-per-view was No Way Out of Texas in 2008 or 98.
Wow. See, the last
that was DX versus Stone Cold, and I can't remember who else, but Stone Cold was there.
Okay. See, the last real multi-man match that I remember to end a pay-per-view in terms of a tag was the Nexus versus Team Cena at SummerSlam, whatever year that was. I believe 07.
That was 2010.
Okay.
Yeah. But that could also be, that doesn't have to be a pay-per-view main event. That could maybe be your main event for Saturday night's main event.
Right.
But I do 100% see that maybe it's at Backlash, maybe it's at Saturday night's main event, could be even Clash in Italy, but I do see the Profits going after, and I'm gonna dare say it, win the tag titles.
Okay, see, I think I don't think they're going to win them quite yet. I think we're going to build to that. I think they're going to get them at SummerSlam. I don't think that they're going to get them at Backlash or even at Clash in Italy.
But at Saturday night's main event, they could.
They could, but I don't see it in the month of May. So we go backstage again. We see Grayson Waller venting to Adam Pearce about whatever. Because he's not really getting the opportunities. And Grayson wants his opportunity because, guys like Javon Evans are one move away. So Adam Pearce looks at him and says, Obafemi. Grayson, yes, of course, Obafemi, the ruler. Adam Pearce, no, Obafemi, and then makes the match. Grayson Waller versus Obafemi on Monday Night Raw.
And we sort of saw the unaliving of him, but now that I'm just gonna say it, now that the New Day is gone, where do we go with Grayson Waller now?
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of wiggle room now for Grayson Waller. Do you parlay this? Do we go back to the Grayson Waller effect? Grayson Waller, and a guy that can actually deliver in the ring. We were starting to see more of him, but still not quite enough. Or is he another one that could use a change of scenery and a move to SmackDown?
Well, we just moved him to Raw, so no. I would keep him on Raw and allow him to build and flourish there.
Okay, and before we go to a commercial break here, Mr. Best, we did see backstage again Joe Hendry thanking the Street Profits for coming to his aid, shaking hands with them as they walk away, and then Seth approaches the Street Profits, who then turned away from him and just walked away, saying it's all about him.
Because it's not in the Street Profits case. They want the smoke. They want the gold. It's not about helping Seth Rollins out or anything like that. They were doing it because they want the gold.
Yep. We do have Presh coming in saying, yo, guys, good to see you, Presh. Thank you for stopping in as always. Much appreciated. But before we continue on with the Raw review, Mr. Best, I'm going to tell the people just how they can help us out here.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have ever wanted your break-in podcasting, content creation, a potential collaboration, or just to help us out behind the scenes, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Hit the join button, send us your creds, tell us how you can help us, how you believe we can help you. We will sit down as a collective and find the right fit. All of that and more at turnbucklestudios.org. So continuing on, we got a very, very intriguing lucha matchup as Rey Mysterio took on El Grande Americano with Los Americanos.
Yeah, I was trying to... I'm not sure I understood Ray's involvement in this, but I guess it was more or less to give Ray some TV time for now, because all in all, this was just something to fuel what's going on with El Grande both Americanos down in Mexico right now. In the mass versus mass match. I was going to say the Spanish term for it, but I can't remember what it is right offhand.
This had to do with Ray because he wanted them to respect the honor and the tradition of Lucha Libre and just deliver a great match in the mask versus mask match. Uphold the standard of Lucha Libre as opposed to a blood feud.
Mm-hmm.
And this match,
this is what the feud between the Americanos has devolved into.
yes, this was a solid match back and forth. And we did see, as Los Americanos did hand El Grande the lead plate for his mask. He went back and forth and was really deciding if he wanted to use it when the original El Grande Americano came in and caused a distraction, allowing Ray to pick up the win.
Yeah, and I mean, this match didn't. I mean, it was a good match, but in the long run, it didn't do anything for me.
Right?
I need to. I don't know. I need to see if it's going anywhere tomorrow night or anything of that nature. I don't think it is. I think it's just a one-off thing for Ray. Yeah, it didn't really do anything for me.
No, it really didn't. It wasn't necessarily needed. I understand why, because of Ray's involvement with AAA, his history, of course, with Lucha Libre, and perhaps being the greatest mask of all time.
Not to mention his history with the Americanos.
Yes. So I get it, but yeah, it was just sort of there for the sake of being there.
And you know what, though? Sometimes I'm fine with that. I'm fine with just having a match for the sake of having a match.
Yep.
But I also try to look at the over long-term effect, and I'm not sure I'm seeing it right now.
Right. Like, because we don't know if this is going to lead to anything for Ray in the future. We don't know, of course, which of the Americanos is going to get unmasked at the end of the month. We have to wait and find all of that stuff out. But speaking of a match for the sake of having a match, we go to the unaliving of Grayson Waller as Grayson Waller took on Obafemi.
Yeah, this was the start of the Obafemi Open Challenge, as it did end up being Grayson Waller. And this is exactly what you said they should be doing with Oba after the show, after the WrestleMania. So they're continuing on with both our predictions, because I did say he was going to go over Brock Lesnar, and you said that they should build him as a beast after WrestleMania, and that's exactly what they're doing here. So this made sense to put Grayson Waller in this situation. I'm very intrigued to see where they go with Grayson Waller tomorrow night. Maybe Grayson Waller is like, hey, I want a rematch. And I mean, that's a dumb move if you ask me, but
I have a prediction on where they're going to go with Grayson Waller tomorrow, but we're going to get to that in the preview for tomorrow.
Yeah, I just hope it's not future endeavored.
It will not be future endeavored.
I would not mind seeing the Waller effect come back, but I kind of want to see, because I've known Grayson Waller to be in teams for pretty much his entire career. I need to see him strike out on his own.
All right. Well, it is going to involve a tag team, but this is going to be a comedy spot for Grayson tomorrow night, because my prediction is Grayson Waller will accept Danhausen's proposal to be his tag team partner for Backlash.
All right, then. But I mean, what more can you say about Obafemi? Every week he comes out and he impresses the heck out of me.
He does.
It doesn't matter who he's wrestling. He could be wrestling Microman, and he'd put on he'd give Microman a heck of a match. He could wrestle Remsburg and murder him, and I would be fine by that.
What I need from Oba, though, is some more big man competition.
Yeah, I kind of want to rewind it back and go back to what they did with Ryback when Ryback was taking on 3, 4 guys at the same time. I liked that.
Yeah.
I want to see Oba do that. I don't want to see Oba do it on pay-per-view like they did with Ryback, though.
Right. Our fifth match, Bailey and Lyra versus Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez of the Judgment Day. And we went into this thinking that this really had a lot to do with the women's tag team title picture.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a solid match. And we know the chemistry between these four is almost unmatched.
Yeah.
And then you had to, of course, include the Wildcat card of Liv Morgan at ringside. We wondered if Stephanie Vaquer was going to make her way out after being taken out earlier in the night. We had to wonder if Bailey and Lyra had somebody there for backup for them in this match.
Yes. But knowing what we know about Stephanie Vaquer now, it kind of makes sense that she didn't show up.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match was just this was fantastic, this matchup. And I do think that there is still going to be some kind of a tag team title implications coming out of this. I mean, we already saw that Lash Legend and Nia Jax got their proverbial rematch after losing the tag titles on SmackDown. So now the gates, I think, have been open wide for the women's tag team division and who's going to gun after Brie Bella and Paige right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw the Judgment Day pick up the win. Roxanne Perez getting the pinfall in her hometown of Laredo, Texas.
Yeah, well, that's only because Laredo Kid lost his match on main event earlier. So it would have been flipped. I guarantee you if Laredo Kid was not on that show.
But this was a match, and I've said it before, and I'm sticking with this. By the end of this year, both Roxanne Perez and Lyra Valkyria will have respective women's world championships, whether one's on Raw and one's on SmackDown, whether one defeats the other on Raw for the title, they will both hold one of the women's world championships this year.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me because we still haven't there, as we discovered, there's still a bit of a relationship between Roxanne and Finn, which I think happened later on in the show, but we'll get to that. But right now, I do think that I'm going to flat out say this. I think Roxanne is being a bit of a mole right now.
Okay. And I see where you're coming from because, yes, we did see that face-to-face that she had with Finn in the locker room prior to this match.
Oh, it was prior. Okay, I thought it was after.
No, it was prior. But it also led me to wondering if Roxanne is maybe confused. Like, does she stay loyal to her family or does she just stay loyal to the guy that brought her in and gave her that family?
Yeah, and again, that's probably something we're going to get more of an answer on tomorrow night. Or, I mean, and then what I mean by more of an answer is like just a little bit more tease towards that eventual breakup. And maybe Liv is going to jump the gun and kick her out and realize somewhere down the line that, hey, Roxanne was actually aligned with her.
Well, here's what I'm going to suggest is to go right along with that. Do we see something like that build and that tension, and then maybe you get to a Liv and Dom versus Finn and Roxanne, say Saturday night's main event, all for Roxanne to turn on Finn and show her loyalty to the Judgment Day?
I mean, that has been a thing that they have done where they have lulled everybody into a false sense of hope. And right off the top of my head, I'm going to go classic again. I'm going to go to WrestleMania 15 when China turned on Kane, and everybody thought it was China rejoining DX, but it was really Triple H joining the corporation.
Yep. Then we get the Sol Ruca vignette after her match the previous week with Liv Morgan. We know that she was banged up from her match after not only Liv Morgan, but then her match against Zarya at Revenge Night 2 for NXT.
Yeah, banged up is an understatement for what those women put each other through in that matchup.
Yeah. But then we go to the, and I'm going to, pardon the pun, we go to the coup de grace of the night, Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. So Roman Reigns comes out to give Jacob his answer. And even before he can get a word out, Jacob is there on top of him. And Roman's saying, no, I can't just give you the shot because that's nepotism. I'm not just going to do this because you're part of the bloodline, you're part of the family. That is nepotism, and I'm not going to have any part of that. All for Jacob to turn around and use the Tongan death grip on Roman.
You guys saw it if you were watching the Raw Patrol. You saw me mark out over the Tongan death grip because the last person to use it in the ring was Haku/Ming. Haven't seen it since. I was so glad. I want Jacob Fatu to keep that as his submission move. Everybody has their standard, striking or throwing type finisher, and everybody also has a submission finisher. I want that to be Jacob's submission finisher. I'm going to flat out put that there because even on SmackDown, we're going to talk SmackDown on the show as well. He made that move look devastating, just like Haku did.
Yes, he did. And as he left Roman laying and he was walking back up the ramp, because the Usos did not get involved, this was a one-on-one segment. Roman grabbed the mic and said, you want me at Backlash? You've got me at Backlash.
Yeah, and again, I don't mind the Usos being paired with Roman, but I don't need them to get involved in Roman's feud.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are involved in Roman's feud because of SmackDown. I'm pretty sure Roman just doesn't go to SmackDown. And with the 2-week build, you kind of needed both shows to build that main event.
Yeah.
It's kind of understandable. So.
But yeah, you've got Jacob Fatu running both shows because he is still technically a member of the SmackDown roster.
Yeah.
And you've got the Usos going back and forth.
Yeah, and that's where I think the Usos are kind of just filling in the gap that Roman can't fill in because maybe his contract just doesn't have him going to SmackDown.
Right. But is this potentially a situation of the Usos saying, we did this thing with Roman. Maybe let's see what Jacob can offer as far as a bloodline or a group goes. And they're scouting to maybe feed Jacob intel on Roman. Or or potentially acting as double agents for both men and going into business for themselves.
Yeah, it's very, very possible. Just because it even seems with the Usos like that there is some kind of an uncertainty there. And it could be just that they're staying with Roman for security, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It just kind of surprises me that here's Jey Uso, former world heavyweight champion. And this is why I think that there's a bit of a hesitation with the two boys, but suddenly he's taking a backseat to Roman once again.
Yeah.
It leads me to think that there's going to be a breakup between the three men at some point.
The other question is could this be the Usos looking to jump ship, and maybe we do see them fall in with Solo?
See, I don't know, but I don't like that either. I kind of would like to see the Usos just do their own thing. We saw that with Jacob Fatu, and he's getting pulled back into this whole bloodline thing too. And I need him. I like him and Roman. I really do. I'm looking forward to that match. But Solo's involvement in this whole thing just it's like, why are you here? You know?
Yeah. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up Raw. We are going to cover tomorrow night's Raw here in just a moment. But first, ladies and gentlemen, check out our shop.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And we want you to support your favorite shows and your favorite podcasters by heading over to our shop, powered by redbubble.com. Wear what we wear. All of the proceeds there come back into our studios to bring you a better experience. All of that and more, turnbucklestudios.org. Mr. Best, coming up tomorrow night, we again have what promises to be a highly entertaining, high energy show from WWE on Raw. And you can join us both on the Turnbuckle Studios YouTube tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern for the Raw Patrol. We are going to get a contract signing between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu.
What do we say about every contract signing?
Oh, I know.
It's going to devolve into chaos. Adam Pearce, if you're listening, you may want to do this in 2 separate segments. You may want to go to Roman's locker and have him sign right there. You may want to do the same thing with Jacob, or at least have 2 different in-ring segments where you have Roman come out and sign, and then Jacob come out and sign later.
Right. So similar to what we saw with Brock and Oba for WrestleMania.
Yeah, because this is going to get just as violent as Brock and Oba did.
It will. At the same time, I kind of want them to go to the same route that they did with Punk and Roman, where you had, the first week was them getting into each other's heads. Then you had 3 weeks of physicality. And then the week before WrestleMania, it was back to that verbal and no physicality. But I don't think you can keep Jacob and Roman off of each other.
No, that's going to be a big problem. And let's hope that Pierce is smart and has security in full force for this situation.
Yeah, but I don't think
he's going to need it.
I don't think the security is going to be able to handle Jacob Fatu, let alone Jacob and Roman.
Yeah. We're just going to see bodies flying during that segment.
So, a match that we have seen built, and we already discussed the potential for where this could go. We're going to see Javon Evans team with Penta tomorrow night against Rusev and Ethan Page.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely something for the Intercontinental title picture. I've been thinking about this match for the better part of the show in my head and how that's going to play out. We've seen the stare downs between Page and Rusev over the last 2 weeks. By the way, it's still strange for me to say Ethan Page on the main roster.
Right.
We've seen the stare down between the 2 men, and I've got to wonder if we see the handshake or we see Rusev give him a Machka kick, and that sets off all these 3 men wanting that shot at Penta, and we get to a triple threat match for the number 1 contendership.
Right. I think either way, as we've discussed earlier, I think either way you're looking at the next 3 to 4 months, potentially through SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Rusev or Ethan Page get that shot at Saturday night's main event. Then the next one get the shot at Clash in Italy. And then the third one get the shot in June.
Actually, I just had an even better idea than a triple threat for these 3 to fight for the number 1 contender. Something we haven't seen in a while. A beat the clock challenge.
I like it.
I wouldn't mind that. You have Ethan Page, Rusev, and Javon Evans take on whomever. Rusev sets the pace, or Ethan Page sets the pace. Rusev then Javon Evans beats maybe Ethan Page's pace, and Rusev just comes out and obliterates both men's paces.
Yeah.
And we get to Rusev maybe going back after the Intercontinental title. I'm just spitballing an idea.
Absolutely. Here. Absolutely. No, and I like where you're coming from, because we've been doing way too many gauntlets of late. I wouldn't mind seeing a one-night tournament to crown a number one contender.
Yeah.
Sort of a gold rush tournament, if you will. And then that's maybe something where you can actually insert a Grayson Waller to come in and start potentially thriving on his own.
Yeah. And let's not forget, if the 6 men are done, well, I'm going to count JD out. So we'll say if the 5 men from the chamber or the ladder match are done, maybe we throw Ray in there at some point.
See, and again, I don't need Ray in that spot. Ray has really nothing left to prove as far as winning championships goes.
But Ray doesn't have to win the championship. He could be there just to help get Penta that boost.
He could. But if you're going to do that, just have Ray in his corner.
I'd rather have Ray against Penta, because that's a money match.
I like what Ray is doing with AAA.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ray taking on sort of that mentorship role. Especially now he's probably the elder statesman on Raw and the true locker room leader. Yeah. So I don't think you need him. I think you could let him continue his commentary, transition him into a managerial role. We know that in all likelihood, he is probably going to wind up facing Dom in AAA at some point for the title, whether it's a title versus mask, and build to that. And then let that be his swan song. Let Ray transition into management. Let him follow in the footsteps of a guy like Conan.
Yeah. Or maybe he just helps out the Undertaker backstage at AAA, because Taker's working as a producer down there.
Yeah. Absolutely. We are also going to get Sol Ruca signing her Monday Night Raw contract.
Well, Pierce didn't say that she's going to sign her contract on screen. He said, we have put pen to paper. Sol Ruca will be on Raw. So we could very well see Sol Ruca be the one who steps into that challenge against Liv Morgan.
See, because everything I've seen says, even going back and rewatching Raw last week, it says Sol Ruca signs her Raw contract.
Yeah, and Adam Pearce in that video said he's already put pen to paper.
I'll check that again, but I'm pretty sure he said we will put pen to paper.
But I do fully expect that she's going to be probably looking for another match with Liv Morgan.
See, and here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we're going to get Becky Lynch stepping to her.
Okay. The reason why I think it's going to be her stepping up to Liv is because she's going to flat out admit that the way that she lost that match was because of Zarya. That was an unfair situation. Now that Zarya's out of the picture, Sol Ruca is going to be like, I want another match.
And very valid point. Very, very valid argument. But I think Becky is going to need some new competition as well. She's already said that she's putting the Intercontinental Championship up in an open challenge. I could very easily see Sol stepping into that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, as much as I would love to see Bayley and Lyra go after it again, and Becky's lost the title twice now since that stipulation was put in place against Lyra, so Lyra should be able to contest for it again. But I think that this is where you need Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez, Asol Ruka, and others to step up and into that role to challenge for that Intercontinental Championship and establish some new contenders. We are also going to get a sit down with Io Sky and Asuka.
We talked about the contract thing devolving into a fight. This could very well be the same way. Either that, or it's going to end up like what happened with Becky and AJ Lee. Now, granted, that was not supposed to be a sit down between Becky and AJ. That was AJ kicking Michael Cole out and saying, "I want to talk to her." We all know that there's a lot of emotion surrounding what happened when Asuka and Kairi Sane turned a signal moment. I think I lagged out there.
You did.
No, I was saying, I was just saying that this is going to be a very emotional moment, because the last time, obviously, the whole catalyst for this thing, I think, is still when Asuka and Kairi turned on Io, and that heartbreak that we saw from Io before she finally joined forces with Becky comes into play Rhea comes into play again. And Io's probably going to want to look for answers on that one. And Asuka, she's a bit of a riddle when it comes to promos. So it's going to be hard to see what's said there.
It is. It is. And is it going to be a backstage sit down, or is it going to be a face-to-face in the middle of the ring? We know it says sit down, but we also know that it could very easily be a face-to-face.
Yeah.
And lastly, one more time, teacher versus student, Finn Balor and JD McDonough.
Yeah, and according to Adam Pearce, this is done because JD had come to Adam Pearce and said, "Look, I can beat this guy. Give me another match against him." And I think that there's going to be some chicanery in this matchup.
I think so too.
And I think that chicanery is going to help build to either Triple A's pay-per-view or another match at Clash in Italy. I'm not going to say Backlash, because I think there's enough Raw matches for Backlash.
I think so too. And with the chicanery, I think you're right. I actually agree with you 100% there. I think we're going to see Dom get involved, potentially costing Finn the match, letting JD pick up the win, all for then Rey Mysterio to come down and get involved. And you can build to a tag match at Saturday night's main event or Clash in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Finn teaming with Rey to take on Dom and JD, which can then transition you over to AAA, and Dom potentially at Triple Mania now defending that mega championship against his father in Mexico in a title versus mask match.
Yeah, and see, that's where I'm going with the AAA pay-per-view at the end of the month. Dom still has yet to have a champion, have an opponent for his title. Finn Balor could very well be that opponent.
Right, absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up everything for Monday Night Raw. Take a look at our calendar, and we are going to come right back with everything you need to know for SmackDown.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night, we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday, we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays, we roam the jungle with the Boar's Nest at 9 p.m. Friday, we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, the Locker Room presents Rasslin Recap delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
All right, so that is everything we have coming up for you throughout the week here at Turnbuckle Studios. There is something for you every night. And remember, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. Meet the team behind all of those shows: Mr. Best, myself, Bubba Duke, Logan Thompson, Chris Parrish, and Carl Carafel. Click on each of our individual links to get our socials. As well, watch our latest weekly live episodic shows, including this one, which will be up in just a little while. We do have a lot to cover here from SmackDown, some good, some bad, some ugly this week, let's be honest. And we will start with the Women's U.S. Championship, where we saw really somebody who was thrown into the title picture with not much build. Tiffany Stratton coming out as your new United States champion, defeating Julia.
This was actually a pretty good matchup. I'm still taken aback by Tiffany with the United States title. It's still early in her run, too early in her run for me to determine what kind of a champion she is. I do hope that she's more of a fighting champion, and I wouldn't say see the championship being defended on a weekly basis, but at least twice a month would be nice. I think this is more of a way, because Tiffany's built herself a name, that this was more of a way to elevate the championship. And Tiffany, I think, can do that. There's obviously more to this feud because of what's set to happen this coming Friday, but I'm very curious as to how it all plays out in the end. But this was a pretty decent matchup.
This was a solid matchup, and we know that Tiffany, from her time as the WWE Women's Champion, was a fighting champion. And I think you're right. She is looking to put a little bit more of a shine on the title. And it's not that Julia was a bad champion by any stretch. It's, again, for the second time, I don't think WWE truly knows what to do with her when she's got the gold.
Well, I think I know where we're going to go. Julia is half Italian. I wouldn't mind Julia and Tiffany Stratton one more time at Clash in Italy for the title.
Okay, fair enough. And like I said, this was a back and forth matchup. Even Kiana James did not really get involved to cause much of a distraction. She did attempt to, but it still wound up backfiring.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to lead to, because we've already been seeing the rumblings of it, but this is obviously leading to that dissension between Julia and Kiana that's been going on. We've seen them giving these dirty looks to each other as if they don't agree with what they had just said.
Yeah.
And maybe it's this Friday we see that possible breakup, and maybe it's Julia and Kiana James at Clash in Italy. I mean, I for one would like to see it the U.S. title being put on the line at Clash in Italy, but
yeah, I'm with you there, and I think that it's time we get these secondary titles onto PLEs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the women really absolutely tear the house down each and every week, and it doesn't matter what show.
Yeah, and that's not saying that both secondary titles should be on every PLE. I would say alternate if you could,
Yeah, absolutely.
because we've we've been saying this, at least I've been noticing this over the better part of the last 2 years, but the go home shows matter just as big as the pay-per-views themselves now.
They do. The one thing, and I don't even know how in favor of this idea I am. I know I'm the one that's put it out there.
The
Do
Rock
we
shows up.
need do we need to go back to Raw having its own PLEs, SmackDown having their own PLEs?
I've said if you're going to do that, and I said this back in 2002, but if you're going to do that, then if SmackDown's holding a PLE the 1 month, Raw needs to have a special show that month.
Yeah. And then you just do your big.
We see that with NXT when they don't have a PLE that month. They do one special show.
Yeah. Do you go to a case of your big four, so the Rumble, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania? Do they each go to one night Raw, one night SmackDown, or do you go to one night women, one night men? But again, then you're just not getting enough out of each card.
And if you do that, that's going to be really repetitive. So I like the idea of combining both the rosters, but mixing up the matches.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, like I said, that'd be way too repetitive.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, like I know we look at sort of 6 big PLEs now instead of the big 4. There's sort of the big 6 if you count in Money in the Bank and Elimination Chamber. So that gives you then 3 individual pay-per-views for each brand, plus your salary shows.
Yeah, and again, this is the thing I thought about too. Even back then, when they had those separated pay-per-views and they had those events that had like something on the line for each wrestler, I kind of wished that those shows were combined pay-per-views as well.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, and it's something now I think I would love to see it come back in NXT, but it's something that I would love to see WWE reintroduce is Taboo Tuesday or Cyber Sunday. And let the fans vote on the stipulations or vote on the match.
Well, if you're going to do it on NXT, you can still call it Taboo Tuesday and have it as a Tuesday NXT special.
Absolutely. But I think it's one that I would love to see WWE bring back.
Yeah. But going back to Julia and Tiffany Stratton, like they did put on a heck of a match. I'm looking forward to seeing where this possible breakup between Julia and Kiana James goes. And I got to assume that they're prepping Julia for a push to the main title, because I get a feeling if it does end up being JC Jane and Rhea Ripley, which I think that's where we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
If JC Jane ends up taking the belt off Rhea, JC's going to need a late list of baby faces that can challenge her for the title.
Yes.
And the same thing goes for Rhea Ripley.
Yes. You will have to forgive me because that match actually happened the Friday prior to this past Friday. I just mixed up my results as they were sent in to me. But we did have JC Jane, with a little bit of assistance from Fatal Influence, defeat Charlotte Flair in her second match on SmackDown.
And dude, all that match, I just had this smile on my face. It may not have shown across the screen, but I was just sitting here and I'm like, dang, Charlotte's giving her a great matchup. And I wanted JC Jane deserved that win. I mean, Charlotte gave her a run for the money in that one, and that's what I expected Charlotte to do. Charlotte has done that to a lot of upcoming NXT wrestlers who are coming to the main roster. She tests their will, and that's what I got out of JC Jane and in the Charlotte matchup, and JC held her own, and I was happy to see that.
Yeah, Charlotte has really stepped up in terms of elevating younger talent in the past year and a half.
Yeah.
As opposed to needing to be the queen, as opposed to needing to be, I snap my fingers and what I say goes.
Yeah, and I like where we're going with this because I've said off and on that we don't need women's feuds to have championship involvement. Like, I mean, we're getting Io Sky and Asuka at Backlash. I wouldn't mind the same thing for the women's tag team because now we're getting Charlotte and Alexa, and I'm going to say Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley are going to be the ones from Fatal Influence to step up to that challenge.
Right. Well, we saw the week before when Fatal Influence made their SmackDown debut.
Mm-hmm.
They laid waste to Charlotte and Alexa during a tag team championship match. Or no, sorry, a non-title match. Then they laid waste to Rhea Ripley. And after this match, and yes, there was some interference, which cost Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
We did see Fatal Influence proceed to beat down Charlotte and Alexa for Rhea Ripley to come out and make the save. And we know that she and Charlotte have a tenuous history themselves.
I mean, we're kind of going back to the well here because we saw this contentious relationship last year at leading up to War Games because nobody really knew if Charlotte and Rhea were going to be on the same page. Turns out they kind of were.
Yep.
And there is going to be a contentious relationship between the two, with Alexa being the mediator, of course, between the two women.
Yep.
And I think that this is going to be, hey, we all have the same problem here. Let's work it out. We'll talk more about it a little later on in the show.
You just hit the nail on the head. You talked about Alexa being the mediator. We knew going into War Games, it was Alexa and Io that pulled Rhea and Charlotte together and forced them to sit down and confront this.
Yep.
So we know that Alexa can do it. We did see at the end of that beatdown when Rhea came out to make the save, Fatal Influence tried to shove her into Charlotte, but she stopped.
Yeah.
So that she didn't knock her down. We saw Charlotte and Rhea shake hands on it to say that, okay, it's all good. There's no ill will. There's no hard feelings here.
Yeah.
As Fatal Influence escaped.
Yeah. Escaped is the proper term with that. But what I like about this is we got 3 young, hungry women going after the 3 women who are basically amongst the pillars of women's wrestling today.
Yeah.
If that's not making a big splash, I don't know what is. Maybe another match we're going to talk about later on is also a big splash.
Yes. Then we go to a non-title match. We see our undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes taking on the newest SmackDown superstar, making his SmackDown debut, Ricky Saints.
And this was the big splash I was talking about because we were all speculating on on what Ricky Saints was going to do. We were all speculating on where Cody's next feud is going to be, or who he was going to wrestle, if he was even going to wrestle. And I'm like, guys, it's Ricky Saints. Ricky Saints is going to step in and make this challenge because Cody laid out an open challenge in that promo first, and then Ricky Saints showed up.
Right. And we all sort of anticipated it because we know that Ricky and Cody have a long history.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes was Ricky Saints' first opponent in AEW.
Well, he was Ricky Stark's first opponent, not Ricky Saints.
Yes.
But I see, and I'll flat out say this again. This was the way that you bring Ricky Saints in. That loss that he suffered to Cody, in no way does it hurt Ricky whatsoever.
Not at all.
Because Ricky and Cody just put on one heck of a match. And we got Bobby Stats coming in saying, hello, everyone. Well, hello to you, Bobby Stats. We are talking what happened between Ricky Saints and Cody Rhodes. Thank you very much for that like as well. But yeah, this match in no way did it hurt Ricky Saints to take that loss, other than the way he took that crossroads at the end, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, really, this was sort of something that I had initially pegged late last year at John Cena's final match when it was Obafemi and Cody Rhodes, whoever was the NXT champion going into that night. I actually had that match pegged over Oba versus Cody.
And I'm glad that they kept us waiting on that one. Because that code to go a little bit off topic, but that Cody and Oba match was actually pretty good too. But yeah, I'm glad that they kept us waiting on this one, and now we've got another possible feud for Cody Rhodes, provided Randy Orton doesn't come back at all. This was just more or less some kind of and I don't want to use this term in a negative light. I'm going to use it more in a positive light, but this was just more of a filler thing for Cody to do until post Backlash, because I don't see him having a match at Backlash.
No, I don't either. I wouldn't call it a filler.
No, I mean just something for Cody to do in the meantime.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily call it filler. I would say this was a chance for Cody to help really give a shine to somebody. We saw him do the same thing for Carmelo Hayes when Carmelo Hayes was drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah.
So Cody tends to be that guy that even though he's the champion, he wants to be humble and give these newcomers that opportunity to really put a shine on themselves.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see somewhere, maybe this Friday, maybe, I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Ricky Saints come out and say, "Hey, I'd like another match against you."
Yeah, we absolutely could see it. But if you're gonna do that, then you need somebody to come in and say, but yes, after that match, we did see Gunther show up on SmackDown and attack Cody.
And this is where I think we're going with Cody, is we're going to clash in Italy with Gunther, because again, it's not Gunther's home country, but it is Gunther's home continent. And I know what they like to do when they go overseas. They like to put Gunther in that main event spot.
Absolutely.
Because he's the big European wrestler. He's the main event European guy right now.
Absolutely. And I mean, Cody and Gunther do have some history. I mean, it was Cody who defeated Gunther to win the first ever Crown Jewel Championship.
Yeah.
So is this a way for Gunther to maybe get that win back?
Yeah, and is this the favor that Gunther was asking of Paul Heyman? Because before that, there was a backstage segment going on. I think it was I want to say it was Alexa, Charlotte, and Rhea, but in that background, we saw way off in the background Paul Heyman talking with Nick Aldis. I don't want that to be the favor, but if it is, it is. Frankly, I'm intrigued because this is something fresh for Cody still.
Yes.
For something fresh for Gunther still.
You know what? The reason, and I really like this because I felt like Bubba Duke with that career killer persona. It really painted Gunther into a corner. And it really left me feeling as though his career had peaked.
Yeah, well, Gunther stomped all over the paint that painted him in that corner, and now you can see the footprints he's making because he's making tracks for the championship.
So, and I love it for him. And I'm going to be honest with you, if we go to Clash in Italy, I'm hoping that Gunther gets the win and gets the title.
I mean, if he does, he does. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I just want to see how far this feud can go and if it can continue past Clash in Italy. Because let's face it, If Gunther, even if Gunther loses in Clash in Italy, or even if Cody loses, one of those two men are going to go for a rematch against them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But again, at the same time, you have to wonder, is that where a Viper strikes to potentially cost Cody the title? Or does he cost Gunther because he wants the title for himself? And Randy and Gunther have history as well.
I was going to say, either way you do that, Gunther's going to be ticked off at you. So I don't know if you really want to do that. But Bobby, we don't know exactly if Gunther is permanently on SmackDown. My guess is we'll know if he beats Cody and wins the belt.
Yeah.
Unless he says something this Friday, because I believe he is scheduled to appear, but we'll talk more on that later.
We will. I want to get to the ugly of SmackDown. And I got it. I don't know if there are enough words besides vomiting in a garbage can to describe the Sami Zayn segment.
Okay, I will say this. I'm going to take half of a positive light on this one. The promo itself was fine. We didn't need the gingerbread man stuff out there. You could have just done this promo without the gingerbread man. You could have had Sammy kind of snap on the fans and in a way, or you have Trick Williams come out and say, "Look, I did beat you for the title." And then maybe extend an olive branch and try to say, "Hey, look, good match, whatever, shake hands." And then you have Sammy kick Trick, and then you do the double turn in that situation.
Yeah. But I mean, we had Sammy, and we know that leading into WrestleMania, Trick used the gingerbread man to describe Sammy. This was then a case of Sammy doing his promo and beating up a mannequin.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely needed to go without. But then, so you have Trick come out to save a mannequin and even throw up the X. Just a little bit too cartoonish for me.
That was funny, though. I will admit that was funny. But I think Trick had that look like, are we really doing this at the same time?
Yeah, and that's where we're going. And then we go back to Trick outside the trainer's room doing an interview and saying, "Okay, Sammy, this has gone far enough because now we're talking about my money. So if we're going to do this, let's do it one more time at Backlash for the title." And then you have the trainer come out and just shake his head saying, "No, it's over." And the gingerbread man is no more. Well, again, a little too over the top for me, a little bit too cartoony.
I do see where Trick is coming from, saying that this was his money, because he obviously forked out the money for the gingerbread man costume. I would be ticked off too at Sammy for that, because, I mean, have you seen how expensive it is to rent mascot costumes these days? They're pretty expensive.
They are. But that was the ugly of SmackDown. And we needed to address that. We're going to address it again when we come to the preview portion for next Friday. But back to the good. We had an incredible tag team championship match with Damian Priest and R-Truth defending the tag team championships against Fraxium.
I loved the story that this match told, because you had the speed and the agility of Fraxium and R-Truth. R-Truth, dude's in his 50s and he's still wrestling like he did 25 years ago. Like, what the heck? The only thing he is not really doing is those splits he used to do to avoid like a clothesline or something. But what a match this was. You had the speed of R-Truth, the speed and finesse of R-Truth, the power of Damian Priest, which, by the way, that's one of my favorite combinations in tag teams.
Yeah.
I will forever say this, but my favorite throw together tag team was X-Pac and Kane. And then the speed and unpredictability, I guess we'll say, of Fraxium, because you never know where they're coming from when they're flying in the air. But this match just, I loved the desperation that came out of Fraxium when it came to Damian Priest getting in the ring and trying to be all dominant, and the amount of times that we'd see Damian Priest try to finish one of them off, and then we see another one come in. I love
Yeah.
that storytelling in this matchup.
This was a beautiful match. And again, the chemistry between these four was just evident.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a lot of people that are dumping on the idea of the new Judgment Day, as Truth is putting them, and saying Fraxium really needs the belts. And I'm inclined to agree that Fraxium does need the tag team titles sooner than later.
Yeah.
But I think it has to be a multi-team match.
Yeah, and the one thing I'm also really enjoying with the dynamic between R-Truth and Damian Priest is the comedic miscommunication between the two of them. Whether it's Damian say, hey, you guys want a tag title match? And R-Truth saying, I don't want to fight these guys for the tag titles, which is what happened before this match happened, by the way. And the same thing with R-Truth coming in and saying the same thing when Damian's like, I don't want to defend my tag titles against these guys.
Right? But again, it was the story after the match when all four men got laid out by Solo Sikoa and Tala Tonga.
And this is where I say that SmackDown was the start of the Tala Tonga show, because Tala Tonga was phenomenal throughout this show. I firmly believe that, well, because two of the members of the MFT are no longer employed by the WWE, JC Mateo, Tonga Loa. Hope to see you guys in another business in another ring, by the way. I firmly think that maybe this is where we're going with Solo now, because I think we can take him out of the Jacob Fatu equation.
We can, but we are going to touch on that here with this, because Tala really laid out all four men, and then Solo gets on the mic to say that, yes, we are coming after the tag team titles. This is our opportunity, to get interrupted by the Usos, who basically said, look, what are you doing? Like, we've got to do something about Jacob. All of us, because this is getting out of control. Jacob using the Tongan death grip, which is sacred, and it's not used amongst our family. Solo said, I'm not doing this. We'll get to Jacob and we'll deal with Jacob when and how we see fit. I don't care what you say. Roman is not my tribal chief. And then it signaled to Tala Tonga, who then laid waste to the Usos, setting up our main event of the night.
Yeah, like I said, this was the Tala Tonga show.
But speaking of Jacob, we saw him have an interesting interaction in the back after Royce Keys had eliminated or just destroyed Garza in a squash match on SmackDown. We saw Jacob Fatu and Royce Keys come face to face.
Yeah.
But they talked about their history and the streets and knowing each other for 15 years, driving 10 hours to Vegas and then going to work to and from Vegas and then pulling a 12-hour at the warehouse.
Yeah, and let's not forget that both men did spend time together in MLW as well for a very brief time. We're looking at almost 15 years between these two men, and I'm going to say this because maybe we are going to a Jacob and Solo thing, as much as I don't necessarily want that. Injecting Royce Keys into it could be a breath of fresh air and finally give Royce Keys a feud that we'd like to see. And I wouldn't mind him going up against Solo. However, on that same side, I'm ready for Solo to put himself in a main event picture.
Right? And I mean, let's not forget that Solo has said numerous times to Royce Keys, there's always room in my family for you.
Mhm.
Was that indicating that he knew of Jacob and Royce's history, and he's trying
Mhm.
to drive that wedge? Is this going to give Jacob somebody new to align with to give him some backup
Yeah.
going into Backlash? Or does this lead to something? Do we go to a Jacob versus Royce Keys because Royce turns on him?
Well, I'm gonna say this, the way Jacob's going, it seems like Jacob is gonna be the one that's turning heel right now. But we got Bobby Stats coming and saying, I'm glad Royce Keys is getting showcased, and I'm there with you, Bobby.
Yep.
I'm on that train, as it were. Um, and I'm looking forward to what they do with Royce Keys on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for the better part of 3 years, but when he was working as Powerhouse Hobbs in AEW, I wanted him to come to the WWE. I thought him and Wardlow would have been a better move to come over here, come over to the WWE than stay in AEW.
And I will say this, like, because when I was watching Royce Keys as Powerhouse Hobbs in AEW, I was just like, they wasted him. And the fact that his promos were, I break backs. And ladies and gentlemen, please forgive me, but these were his promo words. I'm big, I'm black. Really? We couldn't come up with something better?
Yeah. But on that note, I'm very intrigued to see this Jacob Fatu and Royce Keys thing. And I get a feeling maybe this Friday we'll see Royce Keys step up and go to Nick Aldis and say, hey, look, I need to challenge Solo, or I need to challenge Talatonga to a match.
And I think that that's exactly where you need to go, because it was Talatonga who Royce eliminated last to win the Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
So I think that that would be the best way to kick this off and give Royce that first major singles feud.
Yeah.
But then we come to, well, after we saw that face-to-face between Royce and Jacob, we saw Royce get attacked by Talatonga and Solo Sikoa in the back as they were getting ready for their main event tag team match.
Yeah.
And they left Royce laid out. But then, yes, Solo and Tala went out there to take on the Usos in our tag team main event. And what a tag team match, especially when you've got the three brothers.
I said it during the match. It's like they're back at Rikishi's house, and they're having a matchup in the basement.
Yep.
Which I know that all three boys have talked about, and Rikishi said the same thing, that you'd see these three boys just wrestling each other, and Kish would step in and say, "Hey, look, this is how you do a headlock. This is how you do a drop toe hold or something like that."
Yep.
You know? But that's what I got, and I kind of I'm on the sometimes I'm on the other side of OMD when it comes to these brother versus brother feuds. I say sometimes because there are some that just don't have enough emotional value to it.
Yeah.
But this one, you could feel the emotional value between these two. Like the three of them knew that they were brothers. The three of them also knew that they hated each other.
See, and I didn't get that vibe, but I was able to escape that whole brother versus brother mentality for this match.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I know they're brothers, but this was more of an organic thing as opposed to this being that buildup of brother versus brother. And that's where I can get behind it.
Yeah, so it's more like to bring it back to Brett and Owen, but just like what happened with Brett and Owen. That tease, yes, the feud kicked off at the Royal Rumble in 94, but the tease to it started at Survivor Series in 93. But this was the Talatonga show, because every time Solo tagged in Talatonga was just destroying everybody. And I feel like there's something there. They're going to do something with Talatonga later on this year, and I can't put my finger on it right now, but I feel like there's something big in Talatonga's future.
Absolutely. And I am 100% with you. And I really, really hope there is. I hope that we're going to figure out where Tamatonga was. We know that the MFTs had been taken out the previous week by Jacob Fatu, who, after the Usos picked up the win in this tag team match, Jacob came out and once again laid waste to Solo and Talatonga, but left the Usos alone. So we're having to wonder, is there something building between the Usos and Jacob?
Yeah, because what happened at the end there after, well, we saw Jacob Fatu go in and take out Solo and Talatonga, and he once again hit the Tongan death grip on Solo and just laid Solo out the way. Solo was just done. But then we saw the Usos giving a stare down to Jacob Fatu, and I can't remember if there was any words exchanged. I think Jacob or Jay or Jimmy might have tried to say something, but all Jacob did was blow right through them and just stormed his way back. He did turn to say, I think he turned to say to the Usos, tell Roman I'll be there Monday or something along those lines.
Yeah.
But all in all, just that moment, just them blowing through the Usos sold me more on this on what's going on here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, one more commercial break. We're going to run them all, and then we're going to come back with our SmackDown preview for this week.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, videos, games, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday night we are on call as the Raw Patrol is on duty at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursdays we roam the jungle with the Boar's Nest at 9 p.m. Friday we invite you to come for a ride with the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later in the day, the Locker Room presents Rasslin Recap delivers at 7 p.m. Always be aware that weekend shows can vary in times, as the PLE Patrol and other watch party streams are always a must-see. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day and watch all of the latest episodes on turnbucklestudios.org/shows. And please do not forget to drop a like, follow, and to subscribe to all of our channels, and when the time is right, all you have to do is tap in.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. We want you to join us. We want your support by going to our shop. And please find us out there by clicking our names in the hosts, watching our latest weekly live episodic shows, including this one, which will be up in just a little while, and get our socials. All of that at turnbucklestudios.org. We've come to the preview portion, and normally we don't know a whole lot for what is going to happen on Friday nights, 2 days after the show.
Yeah. But literally during the show, I found the matches and sent them to OMB.
We were getting everything. I know this was sort of something you were expecting for Backlash or later in the month, but we are going to get a 6-woman tag as Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, and Rhea Ripley take on Fatal Influence this coming Friday.
Yeah, and I'm going to make a prediction. Fatal Influence is going to win. If you want to keep Fatal Influence strong, give them the win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're going to get a breakdown in communication between Charlotte and Rhea. And then I think you can actually start to build towards something between Charlotte and Rhea, potentially for SummerSlam.
Yeah, I would say just I think it could be just a straight up they lost the match and we get spun off to Lainey Reed and Fallon Henley taking on Charlotte and Alexa, and then we get JC Jane and Rhea.
Yep, and I think
I would
that's
say
workable.
I would say you put Charlotte and Alexa at Charlotte and Alexa's match at Saturday night's main event. Give JC Jane the match at Clash in Italy.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought we were going to head to, believe it or not, I thought we were going to go to JC and Rhea at Backlash, but I think that's just a little bit too quick. You can really build the momentum of Fatal Influence. So yes, if you go to Clash in Italy, you're perfect there for that spot.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I hope that it is not Alexa having to eat another pin in this match. I hope that it is going to be a Charlotte or a Rhea that eats the pin in this next match.
Well, that's where I'm going to go. I think you have to give the pin on Rhea from JC, because then you can do that, and then JC Jane's got the wild card in her hand saying, "Hey, I beat the champ."
Yep.
And then
Absolutely.
the champ could be like, "Well, I beat you. Let's go have another match here. We're 1-1. Let's settle this."
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. We are going to hear from Gunther.
Yeah, and this is maybe where we get the answer for why he attacked Cody. Is this the favor that Paul Heyman promised him?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't think that this is the favor that Paul Heyman promised him. I think that this is Gunther striking out, maybe saying, okay, you know what? The guy I want isn't here. Now it's time for me to get away from being that career killer. Let me go back after the title. And like I said, I hope that he's going to win the title at Clash in Italy or further down the road. Maybe it's SummerSlam. I don't know. But I don't want him painted into that corner as that career killer. Now, do we maybe get that surprise return at Clash in Italy? Because I've been waiting for Gunther to actually snap and attack Paul Heyman, saying,
Yeah.
you just cost me what you owed me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that. I think what they're doing right now with Gunther and the career killer thing, and I'm fine by this. Just keep it on the back burner and keep it as a reminder that, yeah, he still destroys careers. They did that with Randy Orton. And Randy Orton elevated because of it.
Yep. And that, because I suggested earlier, do we get Randy Orton coming back and costing either Cody or Gunther that match? And Gunther and Randy have history. Gunther and Cody have history. Of course, we know of Cody and Randy's history. I would be okay in a career killer versus legend killer one-on-one if it was Randy's career on the line. Now, we know Randy's not putting his career up anytime soon.
We could say maybe it's a long push put by Survivor Series, but we could do, you've mentioned the loser leaves town type matchup. That could also fall under that career killer kind of thing, where if they're having a match, they could, and you can have it on a PLE. You could have Gunther and Randy say, "Hey, look, this show is not big enough for the two of us. We got to fight it out. Whoever loses, they got to leave SmackDown."
Yep. Again, we have to go to the ugly. We have the funeral of the gingerbread man. Now,
And
this is really taking it to excess.
yeah, and I'm still keeping an open mind on this one because maybe, just maybe, it'll be a lot better than we thought. I'm just going in with no expectation on this one, and when I go into with things with no expectation, they turn out better than I thought they should have.
Right. What I would like to see in something like this type of a situation would be, and I'm going to go back and date myself here, but when Randy Orton held the funeral for The Undertaker.
Is that when the Undertaker popped up out of the casket? I think it was.
Yeah, when Taker was laying there, they actually had Taker laying in the casket, eyes closed, and then all of a sudden you see his eye open.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something I would like to see. But who do you put in there in that gingerbread man costume outside of Sami Zayn? Because I think he's going to be coming down the aisle to interrupt the services. But who's going to be in there to cause havoc for Trick?
I'm really uncertain, but I don't know why, but I'm thinking about this segment, and for some reason, I'm just thinking that, and it saddens me to say this because this would have worked with this tag team. I think this would have been better suited if the New Day were somehow involved in this. And I'm talking about like the babyface New Day, the comedic New Day, the New Day that made us laugh no matter how stupid the segment actually was.
Yeah,
the New Day would have made this look like gold.
Yep. And lastly, we don't know if this is our main event. I don't think it will be. I think our main event is going to be that 6-woman tag. Tiffany Stratton, who did say that the Women's U.S. Championship needs to be defended in an open challenge. Because we know that Trick Williams and Little Yachty were getting rid of the open challenge, but I don't know if we're turning Trick babyface. Does that stay open?
I think we might go back to that, but anyways.
But we do have Tiffany Stratton defending the Women's U.S. Championship against Kiana James.
Yeah, and this is where, like, I don't think the breakup happens this Friday, but I think we get more of that tease because when Kiana James announced that she was stepping up to it, did you not catch the look on Julia's face? Like, did you really just step over my boundary and like?
Oh, Julia had the look on her face, but it was Tiffany Stratton who said, "I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to her."
Yeah, and then there was that look of Julia, like there was a jealousy there in Julia's face.
Yes, and we know that Kiana James has really, really stepped up since her return. We don't get to see her in the ring very often, but she has powered Nia Jax up twice for the Samoan drop.
Yep.
And she has shown her strength, shown her abilities, and she has picked up a couple of huge wins, including qualifying for the Elimination Chamber.
And
do we go to making Tiffany that transitional champion, or do we see her beat Kiana James maybe with a bit of a distraction from Julia?
Well, there's one other factor we didn't think about that did step into this too. Chelsea Green. Yes. She also stepped into that as well and cornered Tiffany Stratton about it as well.
Absolutely.
So there's and I said this about that segment. I think this is them building that list of possible contenders for Tiffany Stratton, and we now know that on Friday it was revealed Chelsea Green's good to go.
Yes. So now you've got Chelsea Green, you've got Julia, you've got Kiana James. And I'm going to say this, there is a fifth factor in this, and I'm going to put her in because I see her making her debut in this match, and that is Blake Monroe.
Yeah, she's another factor. And there's two women in there that I think both Kiana James and Tiffany Stratton, I think are perfect fits for Blake Monroe to be a tag team partner with.
Yes.
So this is going to be interesting because Blake, yeah, sure, her promos say coming soon. That coming soon could be any time now.
Absolutely. I mean, it could be as early as Friday. It could be Clashing Italy because we do know that she is from the UK.
Yeah, it could even be. It could even be the Friday before SummerSlam. She might go the Veer Mahan route.
Right. But ladies and gentlemen, that is everything we have for you here tonight. Before we get out of here, I want to say congratulations to the Montreal Canadiens who have just advanced to the second round by virtue of a 3-1 victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Finally, they got their revenge.
So there you go. Yes, I have had the game on in the background. They are doing the handshake line as we speak. Ladies and gentlemen, as we head out, we do want to remind you that turnbucklestudios.org/hosts is where you can find all of the information for myself, Mr. Best, and all of the other hosts here. We would also love to remind all of you that the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at the Locker Room Breakdown and Turnbuckle Studios, to those of you out there, wherever you are, good night, good luck, we out.
In the locker room, a guy you'll find loves bad hockey, teams can't deny. His best friend is just a hand so true, loyal until his friend goes number 2. During the heat of the game, it's clear he's a champ when all else disappears. Rally the team with a wink and a cheer. He's the leader that everyone fears. Quickly, it's a real heater. Once my friend, he's a locker room leader. In the chaos